All right, all right. I do think we're live this evening. Just want to welcome everyone to another Black History Month conversation series. Although we know it's technically March, you have to be from Selma to understand that our Black History Month actually ends with the culmination of the Bridge Crossing Jubilee.
Yes.
So we've got tonight, and we also have one more night on Thursday, which will close it out. So we are excited about our guests. Before I throw it over to our bosses to introduce our guests, just want to remind all of you to please make sure that you are following us on Facebook and on Instagram at Omega Chi 1957. And just please make sure you're also following our YouTube channel at also Omega Chi 1957. So just please make sure you're following us on all of our social media platforms to stay up to date on everything that we've got going on, not just in the community, not just in Selma, but also in the surrounding Black Belt communities that we serve as well. Bosses.
Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am the boss of Omega Chi Chapter Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. My name is Calvin Marshall. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. We have a special guest. Man, she's a bright young woman. She brings a lot to the table. As we have said earlier in all of our conversation, this is the year of the woman. So a lot of women have taken the lead when it comes to our conversations, and as men of Omega, we're not shying away from it. If they have a story that needs to be told, we're willing to let it be told, and we can't wait for this young lady to share her story with us tonight.
All right, with that being said, we want to welcome the amazing, incomparable Miss Krystal Hardy Allen. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, well, how are you? How are you
How
both?
you doing?
We're good. We're good. Listen, first and foremost, thank you so much for taking the time out. Listen, you are a busy woman. You got so much going on. Of course, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But before we even get into that, just kind of tell us a little bit about who you are.
Yeah, so I am a proud native of Selma, Alabama, and I'm a former teacher and school principal by training, but work full time now as an education and a management consultant. I founded in 2017 my own consulting firm, bootstrapped the process of doing so. One client at a time, and went into consulting full time in 2019. And since 2019 to now, have really built a business around providing customized professional development trainings, coaching, and strategic planning for school systems, for nonprofits, and for businesses such as Google, Amazon, and more here in the U.S. and in 5 different countries abroad. So that's the work that I do. I also sit as a charter school board member in the city of New Orleans, sit on a couple of other nonprofit boards. I'm a wife. I'm a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And yeah, I'm just a country girl.
I'm sitting here talking around my mouth, and I forgot I was. Listen, I love how there's so much to you, and one of the things I've always known about you is that you never are shy to remember where you come from.
Oh no!
I always see every time you make that post, you always make it be known I'm just a little black girl from Sardis, just a little black girl from Sardis, and I love that. Growing up from down the road. Can you talk about how was that growing up for you? How was that so influential to where you are today?
Yeah, so I have always had an eye for social justice before I had language to know what it actually was. And growing up in Selma, but in particular in Sardis, I think that I developed a lot of attention towards what it means to live in a marginalized way. Because even within the city of Selma, with all the strides and the progress that we have made over time, we still, have classism alive and well. We have colorism. We have, economic poverty. We have a lot of matters of social injustice that still need to be tended to, problems that still need to be solved. And so for me, my parents and grandparents are not college graduates. And so when I went to college, I was a first generation college, graduate. And so that connects to the work that I do because I understand what it's like to experience the advantages and the disadvantages too of what a collegiate pathway, can afford. I understand what it means to experience racism, whether it's interpersonal, institutional, or structural racism, by way of the very racialized experiences that, we grow up having in Selma, being a city that still deals with racial segregation and different forms of racism itself. No different than, racism being alive and well in other places, but, being Black is a salient part of my identity. I also feel that growing up in Selma, though, instilled racial pride in me, right? Like understanding my racial history at a very early age and understanding that it's something that I should be proud of, something that I should love who I am, understanding the power of our ancestors and what they have been able to accomplish, and understanding that they're part of my DNA. I take that with me in entrepreneurship. I've taken that with me in leadership. I understand marginalization from the identity of being a woman and experiencing sexism, whether it's from white men, Black men, et cetera. So there are different parts of my identity that I know inform why I advocate for and fight for and stand for the social issues that I do. And it informs my love for education and teaching, because I believe that education is a practice of freedom. I believe that education is a pathway for liberation. And in a lot of ways, Selma has been a part of my formal and my informal education that has spilled over into the adult that I am today.
That's awesome. I think Selma's definitely played. I can agree to that point with how influential Selma has become in my professional life. I never even realized how important it was. And I think that that definitely speaks to where you are, and you have to understand where you come from, which I definitely think, that makes sense.
Can I mention one more thing, Collins?
Sure, go ahead.
I also think that the reason why I talk about being from Selma so much, and the reason why I'm so transparent about my upbringing and about just things in general, is because I think the more I interacted with people who demonstrated forms of success as a young person, particularly as a teenager and then as a young adult, I saw a lack of transparency about their process. I saw people oftentimes who were from a certain context who were ashamed to tell people where they were from, and not even like where they're from geographically. I mean, like how they really grew up. They saw it as a source of embarrassment, and did not, in a lot of ways, want to associate with their beginnings, right? And so for me, that never sat right with me, and I always said, whatever God has in store for me for the future, I want to always be me. I don't ever want money to change me. Like right now as an entrepreneur, I closed last year, 2020. My firm closed last year with $500,000 in revenue. And this year we'll close around 650 to 700K in revenue. That's not something that I like just post to the world, talk to the world about, like, hey, here's the car I drive, all that. I think there's something to be said about, like, how can you still be with people, value them, respect them, see them for the dignity they have, not really be flashy in a way that you think you're better than other people. Because I sit on two sides of a track, I have experience and know what it's like for people to not see you, not respect you, and not value you. And I value never making people feel that way. and never allowing success to blind you so that you are led by ego, selfish motives and intent, but saying, how can your success be leveraged to truly impact others and change the world? That's my heart.
That's powerful.
Wow. That is truly, and hey, I'm with you on that one, because I'm not from here, but I've been here long enough, and I've been here since college. I love this place. I've definitely gave a lot to it. I've definitely given back to my hometown in the way that I can, but I definitely don't shy away to tell people I'm from Lynette, Alabama. I'm raised in West Charlotte, my grandmother's house, raised in the east side over my mom's house.
Yeah.
So I never shy away from it, because everybody doesn't have a silver spoon and everybody doesn't have a golden story. So somebody needs to hear those stories so they too can build upon the foundation where they come from to build a better future. And one day you have to go back and reach back. And if you don't do that, when you, like, even celebrities, like some celebrities acclaim, like let's just say Atlanta, they acclaim they're from Atlanta because that's where they moved and began their career versus where they're truly and really from.
Yes.
And it doesn't really have a basis or understanding for real. Like you just saying, hey, I'm from here because this has a good foundation. No.
Yeah, representation matters, right? Like that's actually the reason why I both talk about Selma and then Sardis in particular, because I know even in Selma, like the stigma that exists or that has long existed about what it means to grow up across the river versus in town, what it means to be a part of the county school system versus the city school system. I'm a graduate of the University of Notre Dame. I'm proud to have gone there for undergrad. I'm finishing a PhD program at Columbia University. It's an Ivy League institution, but at the same time, I have engaged with people who, people at home who, when I tell them that I'm from home, they ask me, what year did you graduate from Selma High? And that's a choice. But underneath that choice, and that's not a deficit, my husband is a proud Selma High graduate. But what I'm getting at is that when I then tell them I went to the county school system and I went to Southside and then I left and I went to Math and Science School in Mobile, they're like, there's no way you went to Southside. There's no way you're a product of Tipton, right? Which gets underneath class issues, stereotypes, and bias.
That's deep, and that's so true.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's not possible. Like, you don't speak, all of this stuff, and I'm just like, no, we got to debunk that. But that's why I say both, because I constantly want people to know that we have greatness that comes from all across our whole county, and we have some kids even in the rural side who, like, they're not. How can I say this? There are levels of privilege that we have that we don't even realize we have, that when you're in a rural context, you don't even have proximity to. You know what I'm saying? And that's not to say that we still don't experience racial discrimination. It is to say that, like, even when you look at virtual learning right now, and we're in a pandemic, right? The idea that some families have to wonder, can I get Wi-Fi where I am because I live so far out, in the country or in the woods? Something as normal as, like, I can name a Black doctor, and it's normal that I can name one. I can name a Black attorney. I can name someone in my family who, whatever. Like, there are a lot of kids that's not their experience, and we're in the same county. So I think there's just something to be said about, like, not feeling bad if you do have any types of privilege, but that doesn't mean you don't have struggles too. That means the struggles are different. But I do think we have to further have a deeper conversation about equity, because even when we talk about equity, we still not including everybody.
You're tough. You coming with it tonight. I like it. I love it. I love it. Because somebody got to say it, and a lot of people choose not to say it.
Yeah,
because they don't want to rub people the wrong way. Yeah. Trust me, like it's an underlying conversation, and once it happens, everybody will be like, "Oh, okay." I'm not gonna say anything. Like they'll talk about it behind closed doors, but they will not bring it to the forefront.
Yeah. So, and even when we talk about money, right? Like, like having money is different than having wealth.
It is.
You got people who like you making $80,000, $90,000 and I'm not gonna cuss, but you think you the stuff, okay?
Right.
And it's relative, but it's relative because you're a big fish in a little pond.
Yeah.
Right? To like some other individual who can really be making like 300, 400, 500K and they don't even maneuver like that. But you're the king in your mind because I don't live in GWC. I don't live on the base. I don't live whatever. So you think like there's social status when in some other context and place, you be living below the poverty line, making $80,000.
Easy.
See that class is what doesn't get talked about a lot.
That's right.
Wealth and class. Wealth and class.
It doesn't necessarily get talked about. It gets joked about,
Yes.
And it's unfortunate because I get that. And I remember it took my sister to be an educator out at Dallas County Schools system at Tipton for me to really see what the kids out there are dealing with. And I really got a chance to really meet and some amazing students out there, which made me, because I'll be honest, Selma High people, they had, and I'm sure you and Kenny, y'all, he's discussed this before. Selma High people, we had this mindset about someone that went to Southside. And you have to dispel that. Hey, listen, my high school prom day went to Southside, so I get it.
Right. But there's a resource. I think the bigger thing is like the thing we don't discuss is the resource gap, right? Like the realities are real. Like there is some
teach us tonight, Krystal.
What'd you say?
I was just saying you're teaching tonight. I love it. I love it.
There are differences, right? Like when you look at college attendance, college retention, high school graduation and stuff, like students in our county school systems are not attending college at the rate of students in our city school system, and they haven't for a long time. And then when we look at the type of colleges and universities that are being attended, there's a difference there too. And I think that like the reality is that it's not about potential. Do they have the potential? Can they do it? It's about equity and resources, right? Like when I went to Southside as a freshman and a sophomore, the same water fountain that was in a back hall that my mama used in 1980, because she's a 1982 graduate, was the same exact water fountain that was there when I was a student in 2001. With like, she has a photo, and this was the thing, she's a photo of like a certain rust stain or whatever, and it's just like a part of a picture. And I actually took a picture at the time of the exact same water fountain. That's an injustice.
It is.
Right? So like, and this is what I'm talking about. That is not the case for our city school system. I don't know that we have a 32 or 40-year-old water fountain that's in the same place with eroding rust for kids to drink out of. You get what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is that like there's a resource gap that's huge. So then when I talk about poverty, we have kids who don't have running water. We have kids who like, there's a lot of stuff, and equity says, I'm going to differentiate and give you what you need, which means that we need to actually pour more money, more resources, lots of stuff for children who are demonstrating greater needs. What we can't act like is just because we're in the same county, kids have the same needs, because it's not true. So what it means is that we got to have a different approach. The resources have to be different. Because if I'm given the resources I need, then I can truly blossom, right? So like you take a child, I grew up in mobile homes. I grew up, some of the Christmases, I got toys from the Salvation Army tree, like on the angel tree, my shirt size, my shoe size, all that. You take my story and you put me in the math and science school in Mobile. Fast forward, and this is where I am today.
Right.
Which shows you that the environment children are in, the learning environment children are in actually matters. It's not about the potential. I'm no different than no other kids that I grew up with. The only difference was opportunity.
I can definitely understand that, when you receive an opportunity to do better, you should. A lot of people, and that's what's sad. A lot of people get those opportunities, and because they feel like they're going to be better than the people that they're with, they don't take it. So they'd rather be where I want to be accepted by my friends and family, so I'm not going to level up. And so many people have rejected those opportunities just to stay on the same level with friends and family so they can be understood.
Yeah.
Not knowing, like even for myself, like I have 2 degrees.
Yeah.
A slick shot get thrown every now and then at family gatherings.
Oh,
here you go. You got your degrees. That slick shot come around. But
you think you think you only live because you got your little degree on you or something. You think you know some and
right.
Yeah,
I hear that a lot. I hear that a lot. So it comes with its territory. Like the thing about it is being educated is almost like being bullied now.
Woo, baby, say that.
I'm saying being educated is almost like another level of being bullied, because people who don't have your same degrees, or they didn't go to college, they got a joke, they want to pick, they want to they want to do all the above. It's funny because you're educated. Why?
Yeah.
Why why is it a joke now?
And the frustrating thing about that is you're already having to prove your education to white folks and to other people that's not even that didn't even come from where you come from. So it's we find ourselves having to try to double validate ourselves, to be educated because we came from the same places that other people came from, although we took different paths, but that still does not make me any better. And I said that before, I'm no better than anybody else. That thrives my willingness to want to give back to my community, because that's where I came from. That's my charge.
That's right.
And so, we have to try to dispel that. Candace talks about this a lot, that post-traumatic slave disorder.
It is real. And it goes both ways.
Ooh.
Because that crabs in a bucket mentality or a barrel mentality is real.
Barrel, in the sea, all of it.
Yeah. Woo! Yeah.
I listen, when you were speaking, I was like, yes, I remember going off to the school of Mobile and having people, we in Selma, so I can't call names, but having people think you better and and we're gonna see how long it lasts, how long you last down there in Mobile, right? Fast forward, and there's still some subtle, I won't even say animosity. There's subtle energy from certain people that, like, you think you this because you done this, and I'm like, nah, I'm the same person. But here's the thing, like, it just goes both ways, because when we love one another as people, you know what we do? We celebrate one another. And so that's like some internalized oppression for you to see something positive happening to other people and you can't even root for them because it ain't you. And you don't realize that not everything got to be about you. Like when Collins wins, doggone, I'm winning. I'm proud. I'm put that in my Instagram stories. I'm like, I know him. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be like who he think he is.
Right. I think the worst thing about being educated is having to watch your back from people that you love and you think care about you, because those are the ones that put a dart on your back. You know, it's like, can I even go around family sometimes? Because where they put me in a position where they will damper my career or do something to mess up my career just because I'm doing better than them, and they're mad. So it's definitely like, that's the society we live in. Like, oh, if he's doing better than me, I know I can make him mad or do something. You know, you can't even go to the barbecue and have a good time no more without somebody saying something to you.
No, that's real. And here's the thing, I'll bring it back because I know, you know, with the theme around like, you know, women's history in general, like I think there's powerful messaging even to this day to be taken away about Maya Angelou's poem, Still I Rise. You know, like all of us the three of us are just like drops in a bucket of the power of what it means to experience challenges and still persevere. Still be resilient because you know who you are, you know whose you are, you know your value, you know your worth, and you know that there's a greater and deeper why that's pushing you. Like that's what pushes me as a woman in business, but also a woman in community leadership and advocacy. I'm like, this is not about me, it's about something greater. And someone passed me a baton. Ancestors and elders have came before me. And what am I going to do with the time that I have on this earth? Like, how am I making things better for my family, better for my community, and better for Black women and better for Black people?
I love that. I love that. I want to, because obviously we've deviated, but this is good. This is so good. So
hey, she got the flow, so it really
no, I love it. I love it.
It's really not even deviated. It's true factual thing.
And because the question, I just literally came up with a new question versus what we had on the script based off of what you talked about, because we've hit on so many things.
Yeah.
We've identified so many things. So what I love to know, just to kind of center it back to why you're here, can you tell us how in your platform, how are you able to battle that? And how are you able to sort of make an impact on the next generation to where hopefully you're able to break a generational cycle?
Yeah, that's so good. That's such a good question. I know, right? I'm like, come on. That's a great question. That's like,
I'm trying to tell you, look, I'm like, wait a minute.
It literally hit me.
Yeah.
You know?
Hey, go ahead.
So number one, I will say that I think it's very important for me to constantly meditate and reflect on what messages I want to send out to the world, right? Whether it is like, hey, you can be a woman, you can, create your own table. You don't have to just work for someone else, or you don't have to just like push towards someone else's vision, but you can bet on yourself and you can make it. You can make this thing work, right? Like you can work on your own terms, and you can be a wife and you can do these things. I think if that's one message, I think the clarity of that message is so important for me to know, to say, how am I modeling that and walking that out so people can see, which is why like I may be intentional about having my business page and showing that. But on my personal page, I'm going to show, just like right now, I'm in like workout clothes. Why? Because I go to the gym 4 days a week and I work out with a trainer. Although some people are like, what are you working out for? It's because I'm over 35 years old and I need to keep myself together. So showing balance, right? Like matters, like modeling to them self-care, modeling to them, when I leave this live, I'm going to my husband's playoff game so I can sit in the bleachers and cheer him on, right? And like, I might put that in my story. I think modeling publicly what you say you are about is one way that I do that. I think the second thing that I do is being very intentional about freeing myself continuously from the need for external validation. I think sometimes we do things because we think it's going to get certain people's approval, stamp of approval or whatever. And I think I struggled with that for a long time, of thinking that like, if I do it, I need to show it. I need to prove this to this person. And, if I just do this, then these folks or this group of folks will accept me. And I got to a point where I realized like, I'm enough. And if you don't rock with me, that's on you. That's not my agenda. It's not my business. I just have to be my full authentic self. And the people that I'm supposed to walk this earth with, we're gonna find each other, right? And I'm not gonna have to force it. It's just gonna be divine. It's gonna happen the way it's supposed to. I think that working to try to live an authentic life devoid of people's validation and approval is one way I fight it, also because it helps me stay like mentally and emotionally in a place of like peace. enjoy. I know what to hold on to, what to take personally, what to not hold on to, what to let go of, and what to really focus on, because life is short. And some things that we fixate on are just not important, ultimately in the end. I think it also helps me determine how I spend my time, who I spend my time with, how much time, am I giving to different things, because time matters. Time is a gift, I think the last thing I'll say about how, I live this out is in making sure that I take my means, my resources, and anything that I have to fight for things that I think are unjust, that I believe I can make a difference within, right? So if it's philanthropic giving financially, if it's volunteering time, if it is speaking truth to power, because I don't have anything to lose. Like, I have lost a lot in my short lifetime. I'm not afraid of losing a job. I don't have to worry about that any longer, because I am my own boss. So I can say what I want. I can do what I want. And there are spaces in which that gives me the ability to just walk unafraid, because there's not financial ties from an institution or from an individual to be able to penalize me for speaking in my truth, right? So those are the things I would say to that question, Collins.
I love that. And one of the things you hit on was the mental health aspect, because that's a lot for kids. And I've had to tell young guys before the pandemic, when I was supervising our Crusaders ministry in my church, I would tell them all the time, like, "Look, man, you are enough, despite what people tell you." And these are kids that grew up in these alleys, and they grew up in these shotgun houses.
Yep.
Parents are in jail, but their parents want their kids in church, which means that their parents want more for them. And I have to try to explain that to them. Your parents are trusting us with you. They're trusting us to take care of you, because that means they see something for you. You to start seeing something for yourself. And so yeah, that mental health aspect, that's a pressure point for me, because I'm really big in that. And so I'm trying to provide those, helping to sort of see where we could utilize those mental health resources for our kids.
Yeah.
So this has been really good, bro. Bob, I gotta throw it back up to you.
I think for the most part, when we realize that trauma and depression is real, I think we can move forward and climb a lot of mountains. We expect, like, even when it comes to education, like, we expect kids to want to come to school every day. You don't know what they're traumatized by the night before. We don't know what they're traumatized by what happened over the weekend, but we expect this kid to be here for 60 minutes and be tuned in with what's going on. And, you can ask questions. And even then, some kids, man, listen, I grew up in a Black household. My mama told me, boy, we're going in my house. Stay in my house. So kids ain't just not going to be willingly telling you what's going on. Like, if it's not hurting them or just severely, they're going to be quiet. Like, I'm just going to ride this out. And even as a teacher, I sometimes just have to pump my brakes. Like, hey, man, are you having a good day? Just yes or no, son. If you're not having a good day, cool. I'm not. Yeah. Hey, let's try to get through these 50 minutes the best way we can today. Hey, however that works for you, it'll work for me. And we got to maneuver through the world we live in, because every day, lunch and breakfast ain't gonna perk everybody up. Like a YouTube, like, you get a little break, you might be ready to go when you get in that thing. But the lunch, it don't work like a YouTube. You gotta have.
I'm so here for it. That's so real. That is so real. It is. Here's something I will say. Like, I want to thank the two of you for creating this space as a fraternity to spotlight the lives and the thinking and the work of women in our community, because you're also modeling, to young men, that creating space for women and creating space to honor women is important. you know. So I thank y'all because I really appreciate, and then I also like think that who you are as educators, as advocates, all those things matter because you're role models, you know. So I want to thank y'all for who you are and what you do every single day.
Appreciate it.
Hey, God be praised. Is all I tell you. We appreciate you as well, Krystal. This has definitely been so impactful. If nobody else has been impacted, I have been blessed. I'm serious.
Yes, most definitely. Is that, man, just being able to have someone, because a lot of times some people get being educated so misunderstood. Like, believe it or not, I want to be able to go to the White House, but I also want to be able to go to the barbecue too. You know, I want to have both. Like,
is it want to be with the bros?
I want to be able to do, like, is it so wrong that I want to be able to go sit down with the president and have an educated conversation, but I also want to go hang out with my uncle and talk a little slang and not use correct grammar and talk about stuff.
And we should be able to do that without having to compromise who we are.
Exactly.
That's right.
We literally should be able to faithfully do that.
Yes.
Because that's part of our culture. We got to embrace all of it.
That's right.
All of it.
We can have these conversations like this, and then I can still come out and do this. And
right. I'm just not gonna neck roll on the live.
Oh, don't do it.
You know, but hey, but in another world, it's okay.
It's okay. Oh my gosh. This is so good. Thank y'all so much for this opportunity. I appreciate it.
No, thank you so
much. We appreciate you for your time.
Absolutely. Best of luck to Kenny in their game tonight as well, too.
Definitely.
Look at that, like halftime, probably. I think game is like 90 minutes, right?
Yeah, you got time. You got time for the most important
part. Second half.
Yeah, the second half is always when you're gonna get the best of any sport.
Before we go, everybody, just as a reminder to please make sure that you are following this Facebook and Instagram page. This is where most of all of our updates, things that we're doing, and then of course just keeping up with what's happening with our chapter. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Omega Chi 1957, and also make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel at Omega Chi 1957, just to keep up with what we are doing here in the Black Belt in Alabama. We serve not just Selma, we serve Dallas County, Wilcox, Lowndes, and Perry County as well too. See, people don't know that.
I didn't know that.
They don't.
Well, thank you.
But yeah, this video is on all platforms. It's definitely will be saved on our YouTube. So if you definitely need to use it for any reason, it's definitely available for you to just share, or some clips you just want to share to let people know, like, hey, I'm here to do my job, but hey, this is me with my hair let down to show you that I'm a normal person just like you.
Okay. Okay.
Once again,
go ahead, Q.
No, I was going to say just thank you. I was going to say thank you. That's all. Just thank you.
Thank y'all so much, and y'all have a good night.
You do the same.
Y'all have a blessed night. Thank you all so much.
Good night.